Welcome to Hoboken Terminal, situated in Hudson County, New Jersey, one of the New York metropolitan area's major transportation hubs. The rail and ferry terminal buildings were constructed in 1907 by the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad. Looks like a route map is missing. Let's go ahead and place this missing one before you board your train. There are more tasks to complete. Remember to apply the route maps, restock the fire extinguishers, fix up the electrical cabinets, and replace the bridge plates. Follow the markers to board your train before departure. Sit down in any available seat in the indicated carriage. The Morristown line begins at Hoboken Terminal or at New York Penn Station. From Hoboken, the route passes the coach and diesel yards before entering the 1908 Bergen Tunnels. The station serves over 15,000 passengers daily, making it one of the busiest stations in North America. In September 1930, Thomas Edison was at the controls of the first EMU to depart Hoboken, driving the train for the first mile of its journey. In 1942, the clock tower was taken down to reclaim the copper for the war effort. In 1973, the Beaux Arts Terminal was added to both the New Jersey Register of Historic Places and the National Register of Historic Places. Major renovation works took place between 2005 and 2009, culminating in the rebuilding of the clock tower to match the original, as well as restoring the walls and the neon-lit Lackawanna County sign. March across the Morris and Essex County suburbs and dart to the commuter town of Dover in classic electric equipment. New York awaits with the NJ Transit Morristown line, ready for bustling rail operations in train sim world. All aboard for Hoboken. In this training module, you will be taken through the operation of an ALP-46 electric locomotive. During this brief introduction, we will go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations. To unlock the control desk, insert the reverser handle. The reverser sets the direction of travel and activates many of the train's systems. Let others know this locomotive is in operation by setting the headlights. The ditch lights are used to provide a greater range of sight from the cab. This helps the engineer to see more of the line ahead and any oncoming trains whilst driving at night. To allow this locomotive to control the brakes, set them to be cut in. To begin loading passengers, you will need to open the doors. It is time to depart. Close the passenger doors. For this introduction, you will be completing a full lap of the circuit and performing passenger operations once you arrive at the next stop. This train is now ready to go. Release the brakes and apply some power to get moving. On level grades, you can coast to maintain your speed, reducing energy consumption and stress on the motors. When coasting, always remain vigilant of the grade, as changes could cause the train to speed up or slow down. Built in Germany by Bombardier, the ALP-46 electric locomotive has been in operation since 2002 and is based on the design of the German locomotive, the BR-101. New Jersey Transit originally ordered 24 of these locomotives in December 1999, with a further 5 being ordered in 2001. This locomotive is capable of producing an average of 7,100 horsepower and has a maximum speed of 100 miles per hour. We are now approaching the station. Apply a small amount of brake force to come to a gentle stop. Nice work. Now that the train has stopped, we can open the passenger doors. Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this locomotive. In this training module, you will be taken through the operation of an Aero 3 electric multiple unit. During this brief introduction, we will go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations. To unlock the master controller, insert the control plug. Unlike most trains, this unit does not have a reverser. Instead, the master controller controls the direction of travel as well as activates many of the unit's systems. The Aero 3s were built in 1977 and 1978 by General Electric. They consist of 200 cars built as married pair units and 30 single cars. The Aero 3s were given a midlife overhaul between 1992 and 1995, which included higher power traction motors, whilst reducing the number of powered axles per coach pair to 6. To begin loading passengers, you will need to open the doors. It is time to depart. Close the passenger doors. For this introduction, you will be completing a full lap of the circuit and performing passenger operations at each stop. To control the brakes, set them to be cut in. This unit is now ready to go. Release the brakes and apply some power to get moving. On level grades, you can coast to maintain your speed, reducing energy consumption and stress on the motors. When coasting, always remain vigilant of the grade, as changes could cause the train to speed up or slow down. We are now approaching the first station. Apply a small amount of brake force to come to a gentle stop. Nice work. Now that the unit has stopped, we can open the passenger doors. Issues with the Aero 3 rebuild program resulted in the top speed of these units being reduced from 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour, to 90 miles per hour, 140 kilometers per hour, and eventually 80 miles per hour, 130 kilometers per hour. Close the doors and drive to the next station unguided, completing passenger duties upon arrival. Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this multiple unit. In this training module, you will be taken through the basics of understanding ATC, Automatic Train Control, and ACSES, Advanced Civil Speed Enforcement System. First, let's turn on enforcement of the ATC ACSES. ATC and ACSES work together to relay signal aspects and speed restrictions to the equipment in the cab. You should always follow in-cab signaling, even if you have not enabled enforcement. Now that ATC and ACSES enforcement has been enabled, penalties may be applied if speed limits are violated or if system alarms are not properly acknowledged. Now let's take a look at the in-cab equipment. All relevant information pertaining to ATC and ACSES will be displayed on the SDU, Speed Display Unit. Most of your information will be displayed in this SDU. The speed limit indicator on the SDU displays the current ATC or ACSES aspect, depending on which is illuminated. The area is currently under ACSES. Below that is a speedometer. You should always adhere to the lowest of these two speeds, even if enforcement isn't enabled. Let's get moving and see how ATC and ACSES will enforce speed limit changes. The SDU is currently showing the track speed limit, which must not be exceeded. The SDU is currently displaying a clear aspect, meaning that you are able to proceed not exceeding the maximum authorized speed. The onboard computer keeps track of the train's position and calculates a safe braking curve for upcoming ACSES speed restrictions. If a penalty brake application occurs, recover control of the train by setting the brake handle to suppression or greater and acknowledging the alarm. Once at or below the required speed, the brakes can be released. This is called a running release. The next signal is displaying a less favorable aspect than clear. When passing this point, the cab signal aspect on the SDU will change in order to conform. The ACSES onboard computer keeps track of the train's current position and calculates a safe braking curve for upcoming speed restrictions. If the braking curve is ever violated, ACSES initiates a penalty brake application.
The next station stop is East Orange. When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
The line ahead has cleared. You do not need to acknowledge speed increases, only reductions. This station stop is East Orange. Operate to the next station. As always, pay close attention to the maximum authorized speed and cab signal on the SDU. Overspeeding may result in a penalty brake application. Always adhere to the maximum authorized speed. ACSES allows for operating up to 3 miles per hour over the maximum authorized speed. Any higher, and an alarm will sound. If this occurs, you have 8 seconds to reduce your speed before a penalty brake application. If the maximum authorized speed is exceeded by 6 miles per hour or more, an immediate penalty brake application will occur. Remember, always adhere to the maximum authorized speed shown on the SDU, even if ACSES enforcement is disabled. Failure to do so may create unsafe conditions on the line. As an engineer in training, you should operate a few miles per hour below the maximum authorized speed. This will give you enough of a buffer to reliably avoid speeding penalties and react to speed reductions.
The next station stop is Newark Broad Street. When leaving the train, please watch the gap. This station stop is Newark Broad Street.
That covers the basics of the ATC and ACSES safety systems. You can always replay this training module if you need a refresher on these topics.